Alright guys, so if you're from the YouTube side of things, please make sure to come over to this subreddit called DFS Sports, where I make posts for every NBA slate, every NFL slate. You can ask me questions, I'll always respond to you guys, etc., etc. So please come over to this subreddit. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you can message me on Reddit, or you can message me on Twitter at ToryLangley1992. Either or is completely fine. So this video is going to be a quick one. We have a 12-game slate. My mom has COVID, so now I'm pretty sure I have COVID, so I'm not feeling too well. So I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. But first, I want to shout out some winners, not from tonight, but this was last night. Big win here, $150 into over $1,000. Also, guys, please check and open your daily promotions. You get a weekly prize. This week I got $200 DK dollars. So please make sure you open your weekly chests every week. I thought I'd just mention that there. Where is it? Bird cashed. $30 into $1,300. Good night here for Zoobs. Independent turned $20 into $1,500. Murphy turned $30 into $1,200. So I would say that's a pretty good start to the NBA season for some people in the Discord, which if you're interested in Discord, I will have a link to that below, where I'll have in-depth videos going over each slate, player pools for cash and GPPs, etc. Over about, there's probably about 200 people in the Discord now, so just an insane amount of people that you can talk sports with on a regular basis. It doesn't even have to be NBA and NFL, it can be any other sport. So as you guys know, I show you my lineups every night to show you guys how I'm doing, so you don't know I'm one of those cappers that just doesn't show my results. So I'm 0 for 3 on main slates so far to start the NBA season. Really not how I wanted to start out the season, but the core that I had for today was Patrick Beverley, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Davis, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Beverley was fine. Maxey was terrible. Anthony Davis was bad. Giannis was an absolute smash. So I'll take the L on that. But we did salvage the day on Showdown. So I broke even on the day with a 4x on Showdown. So I didn't have a losing day. So that's better than the past 2 days where I've had just 2 straight losing days. So I broke even today with Showdown. And the core that I had for Showdown was LeBron James, Paul George, Anthony Davis, and Patrick Beverley. Everyone also knew I was pretty high on Marcus Morris. Lonnie Walker was just a filler. A lot of us got to this lineup, I believe, so it was a pretty good day on Showdown. Definitely salvaged a lot there with that. So, since it's such a big slate and I'm not feeling well, I'm going to go over this pretty quick. I can't go in depth on who I like. I'm just going to say if I like someone, if I love someone, if they're viable, etc. So, please bear with me. There's not a lot of value on this slate either. So, this is going to be defensive rating and pace from last season, so it's not accurate, but I'm expecting most of the teams are probably going to stay around the same pace or defensive rating. So obviously the Hornets play super fast, 5th in pace, and they're terribly defensively. They are, where are they? Excuse me. Did they get better in defensive rating as the season went on? Yeah, they did. 22nd defensive rating. So Zion Williamson at the top at 9.2K. I mean, he's playable. It is a nut matchup, but the price doesn't really stand out to me personally. Same with Ingram. I think CJ McCollum is actually my favorite play on this team. CJ McCollum's a really productive guy, and I think ever since he got sent to the Pelicans, it's definitely helped him out a lot. His peripheral stats are way up. His floor and ceiling is pretty high. I think this price tag's too cheap for CJ, so I think he is solid. Now, Jonas Valanciunas is going to be interesting for me. So if he's going to be low owned, I'm going to like him. If he's going to be popular because of the matchup up against the Charlotte Hornets, then I'm going to fade because Jonas Valanciunas isn't a guy that's going to be playing huge minutes. He's probably only going to play around 30 minutes. So while he can definitely get it done in that time, it definitely does cap his ceiling. So if people are going to be on Jonas Valanciunas just because of the matchup, I'm probably going to fade. But if he'll be low owned, I do like him quite a bit for GPPs if he will be low owned, just because the matchup is absolutely phenomenal. Trey Murphy is an absolute stud. He played 24 minutes last game, went for 16, 2 and a block. I don't hate it as a contrarian option with how productive he's been, but I think there definitely will be some better value. So, shout out the Pelicans. Pelicans are 21st in pace and 18th in defensive rating. So, still some mispricings. I don't think Draftkings did enough of a job here. I think Terry Rozier with LaMelo Ball out is still too cheap. I think he should be an 8.5K player. So I really like Terry Rozier once again on this slate. I think Gordon Hayward's too cheap as well. He's probably going to play massive minutes. He lost out on some minutes from the blowout last game. I think he's a very solid option as well. He's too cheap. I think Oubre is a solid option as well. He has a ceiling if he's hitting his shots. So I do like the main three guys here for the Hornets. Outside of that, I don't really think anything else stands out to me. So, Zach LaVine going to be out still. I think DeMar DeRozan definitely looks like a solid pay-up option. I don't know what his ownership is going to be, but the good thing with DeMar DeRozan, he's going to play close to 40 minutes. He's going to be the one dominating the usage, especially with no Zach LaVine. So I think it looks good, and I think a very popular play tomorrow is going to be Nikola Vucevic, and for a good reason. He played 35 plus minutes last game. He's double upside. Good matchup up against the Wizards. So I think Vooch looks like a very good center play at 7,500. Outside of that, I have no interest in anyone else. Ayo's playable, but the price went up. I think it's priced about right in my opinion. Let me take a sip of water. Message me on Discord. So for Washington, it is a good matchup against Chicago. I'm gonna close that. Don't worry, you guys can see my Patreon. I don't care. How many people are in it, you guys can see. If you ever want to know, you can ask me as well. Bulls 14th in pace, 23rd in defensive rating. So Beal doesn't really stand out to me. I think Porzingis is solid. I'm not scared of Vooch defensively. I think he's fine. Kyle Kuzma is a little overpriced. I think Monte Morris is actually a solid value play at 5K. He's their starting point guard. Has a pretty high floor. I don't hate that for value. And then I'm probably not getting to anyone else. So this is a game that I really want to target tomorrow. Two teams that play fast, two teams that don't play defense. So Pacers last season were 18th in pace, and they were down there definitely. 28th in defensive rating. So I don't know what DraftKings is doing, but I don't think they priced up everyone enough, in my opinion. I do actually want to take a look at how much Jakob Poeltl played before the blowout. I probably should have done this earlier. He played 27 minutes. So, Keldon Johnson at 6.8K, I still think is too cheap. Now, he's not egregiously underpriced, but he's the clear number one on this team. It's one of the nut matchups in the league, so I think he looks good. Jakob Poeltl at 6.2K now, I think is appropriately priced. He's a guy that's not going to play massive minutes, but a very good point per minute guy. I think he's solid, but Trey Jones at 4.9K, I think is still way too cheap. I don't understand the price. I think he stands out as one of the better value plays on the slate. I think Vassell is solid at 5.1K. I think he should be like a 5.5 to 6K player. Joshua Primo is playable, but he got there in the blowout last game, so more of a contrarian option for me. Spurs, 6th in pace, and 16th in defensive rating. So Halliburton has his team to himself. It's pretty clear. He had a terrible second half and still went for like 50 fantasy points. Was an extremely popular play last night, but I'm fine going right back there. His usage rate is just absolutely insane with the team to himself. So I do like Tyrese Halliburton quite a bit. Buddy Hield's about priced appropriately. Benedict Mathurin is very, very good, but I think he's appropriately priced coming off the bench. Miles Turner is out, so Jalen Smith at 5K. Let's take a look at the minutes for the Pacers Bigs last game. Terry Taylor, I think, played 24, I believe. Yeah, 24. Jalen Smith played 22, but he was in massive foul trouble. Jalen Smith is a very good point per minute guy. His price did go up, but I don't think it went up enough, so I think Jalen Smith is solid. Chris Duarte, how much did he play? He played why did he only play 19 minutes? If one of you is a Pacers fan, can you let me know why they only played 19 minutes? And if Terry Taylor starts again, now he's not going to play huge minutes, but I think he's probably going to play over 20. And he's not a terrible point per minute guy. And with not a lot of value on this slate, I think at 3.6K, I think he's pretty good value, assuming he starts again. Boston at Miami, not much stands out to me in this game. Just two teams that play super slow and play very, very good defense. Miami is 28th in pace and 4th in defensive rating. So if this was a different matchup, I would say Jason Tatum looks really good. But I don't like targeting teams that play super slow and play really good defense. And both teams do that here. So Tatum Brown, nothing more than contrarian options for me. If this was a different matchup for Al Horford with no Robert Williams, I would really, really like him a lot here. Not the best spot against Bam. Like, kind of the same thing with Joel Embiid. There is risk for foul trouble here. But if it was a different matchup, and if you think he stays out of foul trouble, then yeah. I think Horford looks like a very good play. But given the matchup and the pace of this game, just a fine play for me. Same with Marcus Smart. Good thing for the Boston guys, they all played 40 minutes. Like Marcus Smart played 40, Brown played 40, Tatum played 40. So I think Smart's actually solid as well at 5.3K. Brogdon only played low 20s minutes, so at this price tag, more of a contrarian option for me. And then I think that's it. Same thing, nothing stands out to me for Miami. Boston was 24th in pace and 1st in defensive rating. So Butler, more of a contrarian option for me. We all know Bam Adebayo is going to absolutely break the slate tomorrow after killing me last slate. Excuse me. So chalk it in for a 2020 game for Bam Adebayo, but realistically, just a GPP play. I think Tyler Herro is my favorite option from this team. They're going to need him to be aggressive, and with him going into the starting lineup and playing close to 35 minutes, I think Herro's fine. Outside of that, Caleb Martin starting, but doesn't really stand out to me. Going to be extremely, extremely low usage, but a playable value. New York Knicks. They play slow, I believe. Yeah, 29th in pace and 11th in defensive rating. So Cade was extremely popular last slate. He had a terrible first half and still ended with like 40 fantasy points, I believe. So I do like Cade here. It's just a clear number one here. Has a super high floor. Not the best spot, but I think he's solid. Jaden Ivey too pricey. Bay priced appropriately for me. Bojan priced appropriately for me. And then I will mention Killian Hayes, who will probably play anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, and he'll be extremely productive off the bench. I think he's an interesting GPP play. Good matchup here for the Knicks. The Pistons. Chris Ward, they played fast. Hello. Guess not. 13th in pace and 24th in defensive rating. So it's a good spot here for the Knicks. I think Julius Randle's underpriced here once again. I mean, he's just doing everything for the team. He fouled out last game, lost minutes last game. It did go into OT though, but he fouled out right in OT. He was on pace to play like 40 minutes regulation. So the good thing, with the Knicks, They're going to run a tight rotation. They're going to play their guys huge minutes. So I like Randall at the top. I think he stands out as a pretty good play in my opinion. RJ priced appropriately. Brunson's priced appropriately for me. And then I don't think I'm going to touch anyone else. I will mention Evan Fournier. He has a ceiling if he's hitting his shots. But last season they would bench him if he's not hitting shots, so there definitely is risk there. Orlando at Atlanta. Atlanta. They were 17th in pace and 26th in defensive rating. So Paulo Banchero actually looked very good in his first game. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get to him at that price, but he went for 27, 5, and 9. Cole Anthony was out. He is now questionable. I don't think that news really changes much for me. I will say I think Wendell Carter Jr. is by far my favorite center play on this, not on the slate, but on the team. I think he's just too cheap here once again. I think he should be like a 7K to 7.5K player. Not the best matchup, but he's just too cheap. So I do like Wendell Carter Jr. quite a bit as a center play. Franz played 34 minutes. He'll be a relatively high usage guy, but that price tag seems about right to me. Good spot here for Atlanta. Orlando 10th in pace and 19th in defensive rating. So in my GPP video that I made, I was extremely high on DeJounte Murray. Both, actually, DeJounte Murray and Trae Young absolutely smashed. Now, I don't expect them to both go for double-digit assists again. I think that's definitely a bit of an outlier. But ranking spend-ups on the slate, they're just going to be extremely hard for me to get to in my one lineup. But if you want to go to one of these guys, I definitely don't hate it for GPPs. They have extreme upside, and I think both of them definitely complement each other playing next to each other. Collins, no thank you. I think Clint Capella is definitely a very interesting GPP play. He played over 25 minutes last game. He played 26 minutes. If we're going to get 25 plus minutes of Clint Capella at 5.9K, I do think that price tag is too cheap. Very good rebounder, very good defender, decent scorer. I think the, lobs with him and Trae are only going to get better with Murray on this team. So I kind of like Clint Capella for GPPs. Now, he does have a low floor, especially if he's not playing huge minutes. So definitely take that into consideration. But I do like Capella for GPPs. And with Bago, I actually think DeAndre Hunter is a solid option at 5.2K. He went for 22 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. They're going to need him out there. They're going to need him to produce with no Bog. And none of the wings that were on this team last season are on it again. So they're going to need Hunter to produce. So I honestly don't hate Hunter at 5.2K. Toronto, Brooklyn. So really, something stands out to me extremely important on this game. Brooklyn 11th in pace and 20th in defensive rating. So what is Draftkings doing with Siakam's price? This guy is literally a center while also playing point guards at times. And now you have a nut matchup against Brooklyn, who we targeted bigs against all of last season. I think Siakam stands out as one of my favorite spend-ups on the slate. And I think Fred VanVleet at 7,600 looks really good too. Now, I don't know if I would play both together, but I think both of these guys look very good tomorrow in a favorable matchup. OG played 38, Fred VanVleet played 40, Pascal played 34. I love both these guys for GPPs tomorrow. I think OG's a solid option too if he's going to continue to play 40 minutes. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, basically do everything for the team. So a lot to like with the Raptors tomorrow. Raptors 27th in pace and where are they? 9th in defensive rating. Not much here for the Brooklyn side of things. I like targeting spend-ups that don't have to share usage with each other. So KD Curry, just GPP plays for me. Royce O'Neal played huge minutes, playable value, but are you really going to want to play Royce O'Neal on a 12-game slate? Probably not. Minnesota, first in pace and 13th in defensive rating, but I'm assuming that is going to change drastically with Rudy Gobert on this team. Nothing really stands out to me outside of Markkanen and Kelly Olynyk. I think Markkanen and Kelly Olynyk are both two pretty good plays. My only issue with Kelly Olynyk is the matchup up against Rudy Gobert. Gobert's going to absolutely feast, and there is the chance of getting into foul trouble. But if this was any other matchup, I would say Kelly Olynyk is an absolute smash play. But given the matchup, I still think he's a good play, but not a smash. And I think Markkanen at 5.9K is a pretty solid play as well. These two guys, besides Clarkson, are going to be leading this team in usage. Terrible team, so they're going to put up a ton of shots, just heavy usage. Nobody's going to out rebound Markkanen and Olynyk. Like, Conley's not going to out rebound them. Clarkson's not. So these two guys are just going to get all the rebounds, as well as Jarrett Vanderbilt. Jarrett Vanderbilt, I think, is an okay value play. You know, he's not going to be a high usage guy, but Jarrett Vanderbilt is a very, very good rebounder. Very good rebounder. Very good defender as well. Can get blocks and steals too. I don't hate it for value, but I think there's definitely better value on the slate. And I will say, if you think Olynyk gets into foul trouble, you can go to Walker Kessler, who is a very good point per minute guy. So just a GPP play there that I think is interesting. All right, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Jazz 23rd in pace. My head's starting to hurt. 10th in defensive rating. Not much for me. Cat's overpriced. Gobert is priced about right. Everyone eats usage into each other on this team, so I'm going to cross right over Minnesota, in my opinion. And this game looks phenomenal. Rockets second in pace, last in defensive rating. So John Morant has an absolute nut matchup here. I think he stands out as one of the best spend-ups on the slate. I do really like Ja. I think Bane is solid. We're going to have to monitor the Brooks news. If he is out, I think Bane looks good as well. We're going to assume Brooks is out, so I'm going to go over this assuming he is out. I think Adams is an okay value play. You know, guy that's not going to score a ton, but he is a very good rebounder. Good matchup as well. And then assuming Aldama and Contra start again, I think they're both solid plays. Let's take a look at the minutes here for Aldama. He played 41 minutes, I believe. He played 39 minutes and Contra played 33 minutes. Now, they're not going to be like productive players on the court, but if we're going to get 40 minutes from Aldama and 35 or whatever from Contra, I definitely do think they're worth a look and look pretty good, in my opinion. Excuse me. Grizzlies, 4th in pace. They were up there, actually. 6th in defensive rating. Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, still underpriced. Like both a lot. No Jabari Smith. Sengun came off the bench. I don't understand why they're starting Bruno. So if they do that again, I can't get a Sengun at that price. Now, with not a lot of value on the slate, if Bruno does start at center, you know, last game is definitely an outlier. He basically went for a triple double, but this is definitely an outlier. Bruno Fernando is not a good point per minute guy. He needs the minutes to be there to pay off, but with not a lot of value on the slate, I think Bruno's fine if he starts, but outside of that, not much else stands out to me. Last two games here, guys. Oh, my head is killing me. Warriors 15th in pace, 2nd defensive rating. So obviously, whenever Jokic is going on a slate, going to be a top spend up. Has a really good matchup up against the Warriors. So love Jokic if you have the salary. We're going to have to monitor the Murray news. If he is out, whoever starts at point, I think is going to be a very good value. Like if Ish starts at the point, he's going to be a really good value. If Bones starts, he's going to be probably a must for me. I think if Bones even comes off the bench, I still think he looks like a really good value play. Gordon, no thank you. MPJ at 5.4K is too cheap. I like him quite a bit, especially if Jamal Murray's out. KCP is going to play a ton of minutes, has a ceiling if he's hitting his shots, but a very low floor. If not, I don't hate it, but on a 12-game slate, I'm not going to get excited about playing KCP. I'm going to keep it real. Until Kerr says that they're going to play normal minutes, I have absolutely no interest in the Warriors. The only guy I have interest in is Curry, just because he has the upside for GPPs. But outside of that, on a 12-game slate, I just can't do it. Portland, 15th in pace, and they're bad defensively. I know that for a fact. 29th in defensive rating. So let's take a look at the minutes here for the Suns last game. Devin Booker played 40 minutes. 41 minutes. Mikal Bridges played 41 minutes. Chris Paul got benched. So I think Booker's an interesting GPP option, especially if they're going to play him that much. Chris Paul at this price, I can't get to if they're going to bench him and not close to him. I like Ayton quite a bit. Really good matchup up here against Portland. I think he's too cheap once again. I think he stands out as a really good center play at that price tag. Bridges is just there for me. Cam Johnson's just there for me. Campaign only played 20 minutes. I mean, playable in my opinion, but outside of that, not much else. Tough spot here for Portland. Suns 8th in pace, 3rd in defensive rating. Dame, just if I had to rank with the other spend ups, just not gonna do it in my one lineup, but he does have upside for GPPs. Yusuf Nurkic got benched. They went small. I will say this: if I knew Nurkic was gonna play 25 plus minutes at this price, he would be an absolute smash, even in the matchup up against Ayton. But if they're gonna bench him, just a GPP play for me. Grant, no thank you. Simons, no thank you. I think Josh Hart is a very solid play at 5.4K too. Played massive minutes. A guy that can stuff the stat sheet, do everything for this team. Played 38 minutes. I think Hart is very, very solid. And then not much else for me. So I'm going to be at work until after lock tomorrow, guys. So I won't be around to answer questions. Hopefully I'll be feeling better. I'll let you guys know how I'm feeling. There might be a possibility where I'm not even around at all. So have a good night, guys. I'll talk to you later.